Today, children, we continue in our lesson on parts of speech, on adjectives. And we are looking at comparing adjectives. And this is the first lesson in a series of lessons on comparing adjectives. In our last lesson, we did what is an adjective. And just to review, an adjective is a word which describes a noun. For example, a delicious apple. The word delicious is the adjective because it describes the apple. An enormous house. Enormous will be the adjective. It describes the house. A beautiful sunset. What kind of sunset is it? It's a beautiful sunset. The word beautiful describes sunset. So these words are adjectives. It describes a noun. We are going to look at comparing adjectives. So here we have two young men. We can say the first one is tall and the second is taller. We are comparing two persons. Therefore, we add er to the adjective. So we have tall and taller. Here now we have a man. So now we are going to compare three persons. Therefore, we can see the man is the tallest. So we have tall, taller, and tallest. We add er when we compare two persons or things. And we add est when we compare more than two persons or things. Compare some more adjectives. We have two women. She is old. The other woman is older. We added er to the adjective. And if we put a third person, she will be the oldest. So when comparing two persons or things, we add er. And when we are comparing more than two, we add est. So we have old, older, oldest. Here I have two trees. So we say we have a small tree, and if we are to compare it with the other tree is smaller. We added er. And then if we put a third tree, this is the smallest. So we added er when we are comparing two things, and more than two things we add est. So we have small, smaller, smallest. Here we have a boy and a man. So we can say the boy is strong, but the man is stronger. So we added er to the adjective. Here we have another man. We can say this man is the strongest. We are comparing three people. So children, remember when comparing two things or two persons, we add er to the adjective. And when comparing more than two things or more than two persons, we add est. So we have strong, stronger, and strongest. We are now going to do some examples of comparing adjectives. Now the adjectives we just did, we have a special name for each category. So we have positive, comparative, and superlative. Now the name, it sounds like big words, but it is the same thing that we were doing all the time. For example, short, shorter, shortest. Rich, so the comparative degree is richer, and then the superlative degree is richest. Bold, bolder, boldest. Bright, brighter, brightest. Kind, kinder, kindest. So we have positive, comparative, superlative. As we continue with the 3 degrees, positive, comparative, and superlative, we have old, older, oldest, young, younger, youngest, smart, smarter, smartest, loud, louder, loudest, soft, softer, softest. So as you can see, when you are comparing two things or two persons, we use the comparative degree. You add ER. And when we are comparing more than two things or more than two persons, we use the superlative degree, which is where we add EST. So we have positive, comparative, superlative. What did we learn from this lesson? We learned that when comparing two persons or things, we add ER to the adjective. Example, stronger, taller, older. And this is called the comparative degree. When comparing more than two persons or things, we add EST to the adjective, as in strongest, tallest, and oldest. And this is called the superlative degree. We are now going to use the adjectives in context. We are going to use it in sentences. He is the something of the two boys. So the adjective we are going to look at is the word tall, the adjective tall. Now you are comparing two boys. Therefore, we say he is the taller of the two boys. Tom is something than his brother. We have young. So you are comparing Tom with his brother. You are comparing two persons. Therefore, we see Tom is younger than his brother. I am the something among my 3 friends. You are comparing more than 2 people. Therefore, I am the oldest among my 3 friends. Jenny is the something in the class. The adjective is smart. You are comparing Jenny with all the children in the class. Therefore, we see Jenny is the smartest in the class. Mr. James is the something man in our village. The adjective is rich. You are comparing Mr. James to all the people in the village. So you are comparing him to more than 2 people. Therefore, we see Mr. James is the richest man in our village. So here we have an exercise for you to complete. We have the adjectives in brackets, and you are going to complete the sentences by using the correct comparison. Right? So you have to look and see if we are comparing 2 things or 2 persons, or more than 2 things or more than 2 persons. And you have to decide which degree you are going to use. If you are going to use the comparative degree where you add ER, or the superlative degree where you add EST. So pause the video and you are going to complete the exercise before you continue. So let us look at the answers. Today is something than yesterday. You are comparing today with yesterday. Therefore, we say today is brighter than yesterday. That was the something knife in the set. So you are comparing the knife to all the knives in the set, a set of knives. Therefore, that was the sharpest knife in the set. A feather is, would we say a feather is lighter than a rock or lightest than a rock? You are comparing the feather with the rock. You are comparing 2 things. Therefore, we say a feather is lighter than a rock. Tina's dress is longer than Jane's dress or longest than Jane's dress. You are comparing 2 things, Tina's dress and Jane's dress. So we say longer. The lion is the louder animal in the zoo or the loudest animal in the zoo. You are comparing the lion with all the animals in the zoo. Therefore, we say the lion is the loudest animal in the zoo. Jack can run something than his brother. You are comparing Jack with his brother. Therefore, we say Jack can run faster than his brother. So you will check the answers with the ones that you have, and I'm sure that you did a wonderful job. I have come to the end of my lesson. Remember, children, always keep reaching for the stars.